Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Battle Realm and Beyond podcast. If you don't already, we're available on all the major places you get your podcasts, whether or not it's SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes podcasts, all those places, and as well on YouTube, where the video version is going to be for everybody's delight and enjoyment. And as you know, each time and each episode, I'm joined by Dan of Frontline MCOC, who you can find on the website www.frontlinemcoc.home.blog or on Twitter under the handle @frontlinemcoc for all your information. Just anytime you kind of think, hey, I need to know about something, boom, there you go. Everything. Go and follow Dan. It's important. Dan, hey.
Rich, hey, it's been a few weeks and so much has happened in this game since we last spoke. There has been the announcement on 7 stars, Relics, Ascension, Incursions have left and come back.
Mm-hmm.
We had a Deadpool event.
Yes, an event.
Yeah, there's a lot to catch up on, man.
Yeah,
it has been as we were just talking in sort of our pre-show. Especially this last week has been rough for people following the game. But before we get into all of that, how are you and what have you been up to? Let the people know.
I'm good, Dan. I'm on my kind of recovery 2 weeks since vacation, getting ill, and then just as soon as I came back, it was like, I don't know, just a freight train of kind of MCOC. And a freight train of MCOC, and as you just said with that kind of like starter point, is like when it's kind of like when it rains, it pours with MCOC. We go through these kind of lull periods of about, I don't know, 2-3 days, in some cases a week, and then all of a sudden there's something that happens, maybe a Kabam based mistake, maybe a Kabam kind of future tease, and then all of a sudden we sound off like chirpy birds, and then it's a whole host of, right, should I be making a video on this? Dan, are you going to be covering this? Are you going to mention this on Twitter? Are you going to mention this on your site? It's like, it's a freight train. So yeah, apart from at the moment, we changed our estate agent for selling our house. We're still actively trying to look at that, but it's UK is in a bit of a weird state because mortgage rates have gone up. Well, we had like a nice kind of 2%. I don't know, is it the same for US at the moment?
Yeah, it's the same thing. They're the highest they've been in probably like 10 years over here. They've really shot up.
Yeah, the kind of downside is that if we've got a remortgage in next year, and we've got a really good rate at the moment. Luckily we're on a 5-year rate, but that 5 years is coming up because we did prior to Brexit, because you don't know what was going to happen, and then now this kind of new stuff. It means that if we go to move to a new house, we have to spend an extra £600 a month. So it's probably about $700 to $800 a month extra. We've just got to find out of nowhere to kind of like pay for the mortgage of the house, or we stay where we are and we still got an increase of the rate of like the monthly. So it's not great for for globally for people, and especially for people getting on the housing market or renewing.
Yeah, it's tough. The rents are up, the mortgage rates are up. It's a really rough time if you are thinking about moving, it seems like. But so adulting is fun, Rich. Adulting is fun.
It is. But on a plus side, work's going well. We're still kind of working. I'm still doing stuff with FSG, and the game that's still got years before it's going to be released is work on that is going well. So I can't. One day I'll be able to talk about a bit more. But these darn NDAs are kind of the thing nowadays.
NDAs holding you back.
Yeah. How are you, Dan?
As they do.
Because you were unwell last week.
Yeah, I was sick last week. I was I was not feeling great last week, but I'm feeling a little bit better now.
That's good.
It's just we're in a big run at work, and I had really pushed myself to get through September, and it was successful. But I think I may have overdone it a little bit and was paying for it last week. But yeah, it's no, things are going well work wise, leading up to the holiday season over here. And in game, I 100% explored Act 7
Hey,
last weekend and got Paragon.
hey,
Yay! So
that's great.
finally, finally got the Paragon title. Finally got my prestige out of the complete toilet.
Nice.
So, you know, it's uh, it's been a fun week, and now with getting Paragon, and now it's kind of like regrouping, doing the monthly stuff, and so much has happened recently that I'm like kind of evaluating. It's like, okay, like what are the next steps as far as content
Yeah.
and progression, Cyber Weekend, the next featured crystal. There's a lot of choices that are going to be happening in the next month or so.
Yeah, I've got this very intense catch-up project. When I went on vacation, I lost a full week of grinding MCOC, including the illness I got at the back of it. And I didn't realize how much a week actually puts you out, especially when that week was I wasn't able to do any Act 8.1. I wasn't able to finish off bits of Cavalier, I think, and side quests. So I think I was kind of like really pushing it to the wire to get that done. But it was the Act 8.1 stuff and arena grinding and Battlegrounds I wasn't able to play. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of put me on the back foot. So this month, the October month so far, is catch up with 100% Cavalier, and I did that in the first week. That's part of my target. The second part is have 3 days up until, say, today. So that was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just kind of relax, kind of get my other stuff sorted out I need to. Then it's arena grind in those 3 days. Then it's at the weekend or today, start work on Act 8.1 and try and 100% that within a week to 2 weeks if I can. Do incursions in amongst that, or kind of delay the Act 8.1 grind. And when I say do incursions, I mean like I'm doing all three. I'm doing Sector 7, 8, and 9 to like the extent I can possibly do. Something we'll talk about in a minute is incursions, but it's like the catch-up project, Dan. That's kind of the main thing that.
And there's more to catch up on than ever.
Yeah.
They just keep adding stuff. So.
I think when relics kind of drop and how that's going to be, how I go about trying to get a relic is going to be the next thing. And then, 7, as you say, 7 stars. Like, do you do 6-star featured and hope for some dupes in that in order to get them? Do you mildly invest? Like, do you kind of go 10 6-star features in and go, okay, well, I've got enough for 10. Either I do 10 more. Say you've got 300,000 6-star shards. Do you say to yourself, okay, do I do 10 and see what I get from it? And then kind of go, is this actually worth doing a further 10? Or do I do 15 6-star basics for more than likely dupes and, get a little bit more that 7-star shard kind of progression base? Yes, it's not out yet, but it's all about you prep your account, you plan your account for the future.
Yeah, I think personally I'm saving for the next featured. I really like the featured champions.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
And there's 2 with Valkyrie and Quicksilver. I believe those are the top prestige science and skill champions. Galen seems like a beast. Wiccan's got some value. Titania's got some value. Gore. You do not want to fight him in Battlegrounds, at least in my experience. So I think there's definitely some value in this featured pool. I know there's been a screenshot floating around of the perspective pool, which I have some doubts about.
Yeah, if that's a bit, if I would. So some people are saying they think they know the sub-featured.
Right, and it has Drax in it, and Drax is in the current one, and they really don't like to repeat the sub-featured champ. So, as the kids say, it seems a little sus, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely a bit sus with that. Right, well, let's kind of like kick off the show. With they're talking about the day of the Deadpool, or the day it wasn't of the Deadpool.
Yeah, this one was kind of wild for me because I felt like I was like watching like a movie, and like I didn't I wasn't like prepared for this thing. Like I didn't really remember it, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, you remember like Deadpool gold offers?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I bought some stuff with gold last week." And then I'm watching your stuff, and you had this like month-long plan around like these offers coming back and saving up for the the gold offers, and a lot of people were like you, and I was getting a lot of messages from people in the community about these gold offers, and they were very hyped for this event. So I really want to get your perspective on like what's been your like emotional arc through this thing now that we're kind of out the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean the problem for me is I've done like quite a few kind of videos covering it, because there was a point of back when people were hinting about it, and there was a big kind of thing on the forums, and they were pestering Kabam Jax on the fact. There was this kind of point of going, okay, well, this is worth a video to say, look, if it comes back, I actually need to look back at that video to see how I phrase certain things, because I know this year I've been using the phrase "expect the unexpected," and using the word using if a lot, if. But I don't know whether or not I kind of changed that terminology. I ended up like apologizing in a video if I kind of like gave off that point of hyping. The problem that I've got, and it will be something that, say, extensive spenders of Marvel Contest of Champions, and maybe not all people that spend within the game will get. When I switched to the account being non-spending at the start of this year, I had to make decisions about preparation and where I go to grind and prepare for things, and look at, okay, what are Kabam likely to put out for the entirety of the year? What and how do I prepare and guide my account through that? Okay, so we got Legends event, that'll be a trading thing. We'll have doubloons, those free doubloons for free-to-play players in the Deadpool Spring Cleaning. We'll have Cyber Weekend, July 4th deals. We may have a spicy offer or two, say with the conclusion of Act 7, the completion offer. And I have to make these decisions very carefully. So saving up for something that may or may not return, like this type of event, this gold trade offer, is not just saying, okay, I need to be ready for Day of the Deadpool because it happens every year. But in general, if this comes back in 2022, I need to be prepared. So that's kind of like the pre-prep to all of this. And yeah, like the point that I kind of weighed everything on, or not weighed everything on, but the point I came to on this one is all about the return of community positive events. And that was kind of the forefront of I know some people have kind of said like, well, the value of this event, blah 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 blah, and it needs to change to the meta of this, blah 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 blah, or it needs these events that are not owed to us, blah 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 blah. And look, I get them as constructive like responses to the situation of these shouldn't have returned, or this was not promised. But there's a difference between all of that and also like for years things and events that haven't come back, which the community went, hey, we like this, could we have more please at some stage? And like look, I'm not saying it has to be out every single week, every single month, but every single year possibly there's a relatively good shout to this, because what it does, it allows players, especially free-to-play players, to look forward to something. And that was kind of like my kind of feeling around it. Have reached a point where I have to kind of go within a week, look, I'm not going to cover any more of this. If Kabam aren't going to put it out, they're not going to put it out, and I've got to move on to other focuses of content, because otherwise it will be like, what's Rich's channel? Oh, he's moaning about gold offers again. It's like, look, I've got to move on.
Yeah, and there was just this endless forum thread that dissected every little bit of the gold situation, and it seemed like the Kabam Thrillerson post was like maybe the one real misstep of this whole thing, where they use that account to say there aren't going to, they're doing something new and there won't be the gold offers like in the past. And I was amazed at like how many messages I got or saw from people who were like, oh, well, they're just trolling us with this message. So now we know there really will be gold offers, and now I'm disappointed.
I could have made one last video on the subject, but I kind of felt like I wanted to I had to stop because what was it like in a week making about 5 to 6 videos on the same subject. So I would have looked at that particular perspective with the Kabam Thrilson thing. It's if Kabam wanted to take accountability for it not coming back, and they should have got. And the thing is, this is where it kind of takes me out of the equation of blame. Not as a good thing or a bad thing. Going, oh yeah, don't blame me because of this. August, right? What exactly happened in August was there was a thread where Kabam Jack said, it is not being talked about. It don't blame me if it does or doesn't come back. And I think at that stage, back in August, it would have been better for Kabam to get up front of this and say, oh, by the way, look, it's not coming back. And I think when I did I need to go back because I haven't checked like how I kind of phrase things. I may have said like, look, if it comes back, but the biggest problem is then taking two things together. People go, Day of the Deadpool. What comes with Day of the Deadpool that people are aware of? Oh, we had the gold offers. So if Day of the Deadpool's coming back, people go, oh, right, okay, Day of the Deadpool featured gold offers. And again, like, people will say, well, no, Richard, actually, like, it's not promised that would always come back with it. Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it's like if you've got a room full of 100 people and say, oh, by the way, last year you had gold offers of Day of the Deadpool, most of those people will say, oh, the gold offers will be coming back with it. But then if the person that says Day of the Deadpool's coming back, they'll question it. It would be good, as I said, regardless of all the stuff, potential responses people could say is, back in August, it would have been better for Kabam to come out and just say, hey, or Kabam Jackson, hey, the game team said, like, no gold offers this year, sorry. And it'd be, I would have gone one video or one response thing in an MCN going, well, this is disappointing to see it not coming back because people like them, but it is what it is. And that would have been my kind of like finish point in August. Hey, presto, we're here in October, and it's like we're dissecting this like we're autopsying Deadpool itself.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's the tricky thing, because on one hand, like, I understand, any company's point of view. It's like, well, like, why would we make an announcement that like something isn't happening? Like, there's nothing to announce. On the other hand, like, we've got close to 8 years now of track record with this community, and like, I think I've said this before, but like, sometimes they just need to save the community from itself. It's like you can see the accident coming at you, down the highway. Like, just like we could solve this. Like, we can get ahead of this. Like, instead of just being like, oh wow, they're upset. Nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
It's just like, they don't deal with change well. Like, that's why I think it was so good that like 7 stars were announced like so early.
Yeah.
Because I know we got the same cut and paste, posts about like, this will be the end of the game, just like it was with 6 stars, just like it was with 5 stars. But like, by the time there's actually like people actually see 7-star shards like in a month, and then actually see 7 stars like in their account sometime next spring, they'll have had a long time to live with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't like complain as much. It's like, hey, you knew this was coming. But there's one more thing I want to touch on, the gold offers, because I've seen this line a lot about the gold offers being free to play friendly. And I'm wondering if that's like really the case, and might be part of the reason why Kabam didn't have the gold offers. Because my sense is that they don't think there's enough gold in the game. They keep putting more gold in the game, whether it's the Eternity of Pain milestones, the big Incursions update, but it just doesn't seem like there's enough gold for a lot of people. And my sense is that a lot of the people with a ton of gold, like more gold than they're ever going to spend, are people who have had that gold for like 5, 6, 7 years, or like the extreme arena grinders, or the people who buy a ton of cav crystals, so they're big spenders. That the real free to play, average Joe MCOC summoner is floating around 1 million, 2 million gold all the time and shouldn't be, spending their gold on anything other than rank ups. Like, what do you say to that?
I think that's it's definitely a relevant point, but then there just comes to a point where it depends if you're a seasoned. Maybe there's a type of point where you're new to the game where you don't understand the best places to get gold and also how to manage your gold. I mean, look, right. For me, when I posted a video at the start of this week, when I was like, hey, by the way, I'm on X amount of gold. I'm on, I got 4 mil gold in 4 days. And, I'm currently sitting as non-spending on 8.8 million gold. I haven't touched Incursions yet under its new changes. I haven't got anything from side quest gold wise. I haven't picked up from the side quest store any kind of extra gold. Yes, I grind arena, but not to the extent of a degree that people kind of think that I might or might not do. I think if you know where you're going, you know what you're doing, you can accumulate gold. But then there's other people I'm not saying there is not a gold problem. I'm just saying I'm just going to come to the point of saying if you understand, if you've gone down the route, if you're savvy with your grind, you know the places to go, you know where to grab stuff, and you know how to plan your grind, you can. And it's not something of going I've got to think about things. No, for me, I will literally kind of go, okay, what's on today? Level up. Well, I'm going to lose 500k gold trying to get my level up done to get the unit. But at the same time, if I go and do incursions later on today or do some event quest, I'll probably get the gold kind of top back up again to that particular point. The same way that on Sunday, I'll pop my arena crystals, try and get units or try and get the gold with it. But look, I get it. There's going to be people that will struggle, and there was a criticism on me on the forums about, well, Rich is only sitting on about 2 mil gold at the moment, and it's right. Well, and I haven't ranked up anybody just yet. So yes, that is a relevant point, but also it's kind of irrelevant. It's kind of everything at the same time. It is literally about resource management. And
right, yeah, the resource management and kind of balancing the FOMO of the players who won't be able to afford the gold offers, versus those who either have managed well and can spend on it, or they can just buy it because it doesn't even put a dent in their stash. It's kind of that balance of do you risk FOMO for some players, versus players that have the resources and it's not going to impact them. Is that level of choice okay? And it seems to be some back and forth about that.
Yeah, so if I'll give another kind of secondary example to this is if I go, okay, right, I want to rank up 3 champions to rank 3 6-stars, and I level them up right the way, I'm probably going to lose a good chunk of the gold that I've got. But I could top up the extent of the missing ISO with I could sell all my ISO and generate, I don't know, 2 to... how much would that be? That would be 100 times... Yeah, so about nearly 1.1 mil I would kind of then gain back. So yes, there's losses, yes, there's gains, but it's resource management at the end of the day, how you kind of
right,
gain and lose your gold.
Yeah, no, it's that long-term resource management that we're always talking about in this game. And I think that's one place that, Kabam still needs to focus on, how the players think about these things, how they have to, especially the free-to-play or the light spenders, build around, Cyber Weekend, what used to be gifting, Deadpool spring cleaning, July 4th, because you've only got those limited windows where you can make a big leap forward. So you do have to prepare for months so that when you do get swerved sometimes, it can really feel bad because you're I did months of planning and it's not coming to fruition. So that's what happens.
Yeah, I've got something else as well. I put out a video on this on Thursday about extent of gold. Now, if you're willing, now this is the problem here. It's good that you've got incursions rotating a milestone every 5 days, but you will have to go in deep to try and get the milestone for tier 3, tier 2, and No, not tier 3, no, that's just tier 1.
It's 789.
Yeah, 789. So
789 for our level, yeah.
So going to gold, you will get every 5 days 850,000 gold. Now, if you're getting it every 5 days and willing to commit to that, what is that on that could be six times you'll go and do 850,000. So with this new incursions, let's just so 85000 times 6, we'll just estimate 5.1 mil gold a month if you're willing to go and do incursions. That's, you don't have to spend in order to get that. So that's nice. Kabam added it in. It does mean you have to regrind incursions a lot. So it's just, as I said, it's just being savvy as much as possible with that gold. But the thing is, I understand where the criticisms are on going, well, there's resource management. Well, we can't trust players to resource management their gold. If they're spending their gold here, there's a gold problem in the game. Look, I get all these points, but then again, it goes down to, do you really need to rank up that 6-star now? Is that 6-star going to mean any difference to you? Are you chasing prestige? Is where that gold is best invested? Could you wait until this, and this? I don't know. There's definitely two sides to this, but it's a very fine line to draw on who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah, I feel you on that, Rich. I'm just hoping that it's a good cyber weekend and that they've got something big planned in December to get everyone back on track and feeling good about the game, because it has been a bumpy ride. Especially this last week has not been great for overall community feel. And you kind of you just talked about incursions, so and that's next on the list. So let's get into that a little bit. Incursions are back was a bumpy start as it did not launch properly yesterday, but they did get it working fairly quick. I think within the first hour or two after it was supposed to be live. Have you incursioned yet?
I have. Well, I did it on the pre-launch, so I did mine at.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I had 40. Funny enough, I had to start work at 3:30 p.m. on some stuff with FSG. I really had to kind of get that done. So I had between 2:15 p.m. And 3:30 p.m. or something like. I had to make the video and then put it out. I only had 45 minutes to play, so I decided to play Sector 9 just briefly and also Sector 8 in solo. So I wanted to give the solo experience a bit of a try. A lot of good things. There were a lot of good things. There were some points I had that are still not being addressed within that. Where's my feedback? I put on a video or something. I'll try and remember off the top of my head. So I still got the same criticisms I had about node combinations, and that is really with a lot of the burst damage things that Kabam still seem to be putting in with end bosses. I don't like that. Good news is that I like the way the setup is for you. When you first off, you're like, okay, well, you got to go to one node to bring down something in order to continue on, and it's like, okay, well, this first champion is kind of not having any nodes attributed to them. Now, I don't know if that's because I only went briefly into a few zones. So it's like going to the first champion and going, oh, right, this first champion has stuff on them and whatever. That seems like an easy pass. I think there's an extra pickup module. I could be wrong, but I think there's an extra pickup module.
Oh, in the solo?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
I haven't done the solo yet.
I thought that when I looked at it, it was like you go to a pickup module, which is either going to be pickup hack or a change champion. Then you go and do the champion. Then you got a pickup module. Then you go to the champion, and then you got another pickup module. I don't know. I thought there was an extra one, and then you get like the boss one if you defeat the boss module. I can't remember if that was if not, I've given Kabam a little kind of a thumbs up for no reason. I was a bit disappointed to see no fresh hacks. And that was from playing for 45 minutes. I saw nothing new that hadn't been already kind of like in.
Yeah, I didn't see any new hacks yesterday. So I was doing Sector 9 with my buddy Vet, and we made it to room 8 until and then I got absolutely wrecked by a Kitty Pryde who was the equivalent of One Punch Woman. She just wrecked me.
Ouch. What
It was crazy. She had like some sort of like prowess buff, and there was like there was like a fury buff and a prowess buff. So as soon as she phased, I was dead.
Damn.
And that was it. But yeah, these the Sector 9 difficulty's no joke, Rich.
Yeah, it is no joke. I was a little disappointed in that. I kind of think that I understand Kabam don't want to give out stuff for free with it. You have to work for it, and it's all about being as high skilled. But then there's other things with Sector 8. Now I did a comparison for my Sector 8 pre Incursions buff and Sector 8 now in the buff. I took Zone 3 boss. Zone 3, and the thing is, I disagree with having Sector 8 as 6-star champions, because that's something that Sector 9 should be all about. Sector 8, which, by the way, has good rewards. I'm not kind of... look, again, you've got to work for stuff. I get it. But at the same time, I find it weird that in my comparison, I got a Zone 3 from the pre-buff was a 133,000 5-star, 7,100 attack rating, Mr. Fantastic, and this time was a 6-star Spider-Man 2099, 8,000 attack rating, 129,000, 6-star. So it's like there's a difference between seeing, okay, it's a 6-star and a 5-star. Like, I thought, and again, like, maybe what is one stronger than the other? Possibly. Is it a case that maybe the abilities are stronger in comparison? Again, possibly. But I just found it weird to see that jump up within Sector 8, and I kind of thought, well, shouldn't this really be in Sector 9 as opposed to like Sector 8? I just found it a little bit weird for that one. But yeah, apart from that, it's good. I just think that it's going to be a case you're going to have to box clever with how you acquire your shards and your artifacts. And
I think there's a greater emphasis now on switching in and out champions. I was doing that a lot yesterday. Like I see some threads of people like, well, what's your like best 3 champions? Like, I think you need to think of it more like 2 sustainable all around champions and then 1 slot that you're going to be switching champions in and out. And I know that's tricky with the cooldown, especially if you're going to be playing a lot, but I think for the average player that might be going in once every 5 days, I think that's more of the way to go. And play the matchup game, because they've got these newer defenders in that are tricky, and with these node combinations, like you really need to you need to get it right. You need to get the matchup right.
Yeah, that's what I said in my video. Like, rotation it seems like it is not like it seems like more of a demand than a kind of suggestion, because it's like, okay, well, it's not like going, okay, well, I've got Apocalypse and I can make him bleed immune, incinerate immune. He's got debuffs. He's got disorient immunity. He's got evade counters at certain point. Like, oh, okay, I'm fine with him for the entirety of the rooms he goes in. And that's not the point of it. Even by going standards of going, look, I'll just wait until I got 7 stars and I kind of blast through this. Incursions may have been the buff may have been made for Sector 9 days, may have been made for longevity purposes, because you wouldn't put the extent of rewards you've got in if you weren't thinking about the future. And if I was able to in the video take a champion with Relics, a rank 4 6-star, then you're damn right that Kabam are thinking about you going, okay, do you want to get one fully formed tier 3 alpha, tier 6 basic, some 6-star signature stones and a 6-star awakening gem? Well, that's going to be current meta for about sometime next year, and going, okay, well, we anticipate people using 7 stars, relics, rank 5 6 stars in this particular mode, and going a little bit further, a little bit easier without having put too much effort into it. So
that 6-star awakening gem is not meant to be easily accessible. So like don't feel bad that you're not getting to Sector 25 anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly.
That is rarefied air.
I'm sure that some people may have kind of spent their way through it. I don't doubt that. But it's going to be a case that they've done things for reasons, the longevity, maybe to have a bit, spenders spend and that stuff. But it is, again, as I always say, it is what it is with that. But yeah, that's it's Incursions. Should we talk about Battlegrounds a bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you real quick about Incursions and
Yeah.
the rewards update, which is pretty good. I like the rewards. They've added the 6-star Incursions crystals. Personally, I didn't think there was too much spice in those crystals. I think I'm going 6-star basic. Did you look at the Incursion crystals? Is there someone you're targeting from those crystals?
I gotta be honest, I didn't actually look at them. I'm gonna look at them now, so I'll give a first-hand kind of reaction to them, especially as I kind of like swipe down to it. So we've, oh, that's disappointing. I thought that they would kind of like match. Oh, right, okay, yeah, maybe they've done this for a reason then. That the pools of them, which why have they done? Okay, I'm a little bit kind of like confused about like the extent of. Yeah, you're right, spice. Yeah, Doctor Voodoo, Havoc. Well, that's fine. Jupiter. Yeah, it's just. I think it's just like they're okay.
Yeah, there's not too many new champions, and of course it depends on your roster. But like the armor one, like yeah, an Ultron would be good. I wouldn't mind a War Machine, but like I don't know if I'm willing to pay a premium for those champions right now. Like it's 81K versus 54 for the 6-star basic. Like that's a pretty big premium.
Yeah, I think for me, I think you've nailed on the head there. It's just like there's nothing. It's like the sentiment of going, yeah, it's all right, but 6-star, yeah, it's all right, but I'll probably go with that. I think that's absolutely. And the great thing about this is like save it. You save your artifacts and save those 6-stars until the 7-star shards come in. It's just like boom, I'll just grab some 7-star shards or whatever, or give a better chance of 7-star shards.
Right.
Unless you've got everything in the. No, you wouldn't even do that. No, I'm not. I'm going to stop talking about that because I'm trying to think of like positive ways out of this. I'm just like, well, no, 6-star basic just seems to be of more value. Save those 20.
Yeah, well, you never know. They're gonna rotate those crystals. I believe it's a 30-day reset now instead of 90 days. So there might be some better crystals coming down the line if you save. They may just be treading lightly with the initial release, which is kind of what it feels like. So Battlegrounds, we are through season 1 of Battlegrounds. I finished in Diamond 2, which I was actually pretty happy about given where my account was at. Rich, where did you end up finishing?
I didn't have any chance to go in. Weird story with this. I tried to access Battlegrounds. There's like, when you press the button and you like it wouldn't activate a game, like a match. Like it just wouldn't let me go into a match. I tried that on just because was it 10th? This week it ended, didn't it? Or was it the 3rd?
Yeah, it ended on Monday.
Yeah. So I tried to access it on Thursday the 6th, couldn't access it. Friday the 7th, couldn't access it. Saturday the 8th, couldn't access it. And one final attempt on Sunday the 9th, I couldn't access it. Like I was clicking the button and it just like would not. Like it looked like the button had been depressed. Like it does that kind of like brightness kind of like shift on it with kind of flash that is being pressed. But it just wouldn't find me a game. Now I don't know why that was the case. I don't know if it's because I've left it too late to battle and there's nobody around in victory track in order to kind of get through and do stuff. But yeah, I was very disappointed that I wasn't able to get involved. So I've got to make more of an effort next season to get involved then. Sad.
Yeah. It may just have been that like there weren't any players like that low down. At the last minute. I wouldn't be surprised about that because I imagine the people that wanted to jumped in early and kind of moved up. So that may be something they got to look at because I know that it definitely took me longer to match as the season went on. Now nothing crazy, but there's a difference when it's like a 5-second match and a 35 or a 45-second match.
Yeah. I might send a message to Kabam on that one and just say like, look, with all due respect, I can't play all the time in different things when like everyone is available to play. I mean, losing that week of not being able to play MCOC was a point where, right, I'm going to set up my deck, I'll set up my champions I want to play. I think strategically, yes, it was delayed. Like, I was delayed with getting involved, but then we had Act 8.1, Cavalier difficulty. I've got a life. So yeah. you got to like opportunities. So I mean, look, I learn the lesson, hands up, and go, right, I'll get more involved, or set up time to be more involved at when it launches. But yeah, it is what it is. But it was a lot of controversy. I need to say that properly because I was controversy with this based on cheaters and how Kabam dealt with the cheaters, how the rewards were kind of given out. Lots of stuff, Dan.
Yeah, there was some disappointing things around the modders, and basically the season rewards for the gladiator circuit were sent out before all the bans had been put through and the leaderboard had been cleaned up. So and depending on who you listen to, I don't know for sure because I wasn't up there, but people were saying at the higher levels that there was a ton of modding going on, and there was quite a few modders, towards the top or at the very top of the leaderboard. So there's definitely been some people disgruntled about that, about it not being a fair fight, about having to losing out on rewards, much like we've talked about with arenas and modding in the past. But I think, where this is really going to come to a head for them is with Relics.
Yeah.
And Battlegrounds is supposed to be the place where you're going to go to get the best relics. So we assume that the best relics are going to be at the top of the gladiator circuit. And we don't know where they're going to put them in the rewards, but we have to assume that it is, a competitive mode like that. The more you win, the better the relics you're going to get.
Yeah.
But if we can't trust the leaderboard and all the relics are going to modders, then you don't just have an issue with Battlegrounds, you have an issue with your new shiny toy and Relics.
Yeah, I wonder if this particular prospect they'll kind of enforce what they did with the arena cleanup, where haven't heard anything from that in a while, where they kind of retrospectively look back at the previous arenas, people that are modded within them, or unscrupulous accounts and people that have been up to naughty things, and they give out the rewards for to the people that were unfairly dropped down in the rankings and therefore missed out. So whether or not Kabam will go down that route is, well, yet to be seen.
Yeah, we don't know what they're doing with the release of Relics as far as timing, and we also don't know what they're changing for Season 2 of Battlegrounds, which starts on Monday. But I'm really hoping that they aren't going to be introducing Relics with Season 2. I think they need another season to kind of get this right and get some goodwill back in Battlegrounds regarding the leaderboard and being able to take care of cheaters. Because if they're just going to throw Relics in there now, there's not a lot of faith from the community that those Relics are going to be going to players who deserve them.
Yeah, that's true. And that's going to be such an issue for the consistency around fairness of competition, which is something that, where this all comes in of like advantage, not advantage, and it's like there's future things like how 7 stars are going to impact in on Battlegrounds the further we go.
Right.
Tiering systems, maybe progression based kind of fighting. There's a lot of variables to consider as to how Kabam tackle this stuff, which they've got to learn lessons quickly, learn from the mistakes of Marvel Realm of Champions and how that was kind of situated from a matchmaking perspective. Also with, as you said, cheating and how that... There's a lot of stuff that... This is a great game mode. It's a fantastic idea.
It is a great game mode. I love the game mode. It's super fun.
It's making sure that the integrity of it is sorted out. Now, you didn't have the greatest of starts, and this is kind of like... And I know Kabam like to do this. Look, let's throw it out there and see what's shit about it, and then change it to improve as we go on, because the community is the litmus test for it.
Yep. We need the large sample size, right? That's what they're always saying.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't always go well for kind of the not trust, but kind of like
I really wish they had called this a beta season. I think that would have helped a lot, because it's like, well, guys, yeah, it's a beta season.
Yes.
Like, if they called it a beta season instead of season 1, I think it would have been better. And I know people want them to like post the list of like cheaters. They're never gonna do that. But like,
yeah,
if they're just regular with the bans and like really make an effort to clean up the leaderboard as quickly as possible, like, people are gonna notice when Alliance War cheating was going on and they started to crack down on that, and like, the community like is watching this stuff, and you see the list circulating, like, oh, this alliance got docked, this alliance got docked. Like, we'll take care of the communication on that stuff on our end. Like, they don't need to do that. They just need to be like constantly cleaning up that leaderboard.
That's true, because like you just need to be seen kind of dealing with the same way that I know that they're trying to save time, and that's the thing, as a developer they've got to save time on stuff. Like,
that's the thing, is like, it's that classic difference between like how the players look at it, where we're like 24/7 like plugged in, like, I can't believe they haven't changed this yet, and like, from an employee point of view, you might be like, oh well, I'm once a week on Wednesday I'm gonna clean up the leaderboard, right? And that seems reasonable. And meanwhile, everyone's, in the community is like freaking out. It's like, I can't, this cheater's been here for 5 days, like that's the disconnect.
Yeah, true.
In like the sense of urgency of like how someone, a developer, an employee might look at a problem versus how the players look at it. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm waiting to see the post on season 2, what the meta is. It's, I kind of like the meta last time, but after 4 weeks of not being able to hit into block because of explosive personality, I'm looking forward to something else. Well, Rich, like, because I got to get to work soon, very quickly.
Yep.
We've gotten some teases about Summoner's Choice coming back. Are you excited? Are you nervous? How are you feeling?
I'm in a bit better place with it, because I saw that Kabam Jack said that they're going to do it in a different way. I hope this means that there's a bit more of a better integrity to the structure, because going from like previous times, it hasn't been great, especially because it's been pretty obvious who was going to be the last 4. I mean, at the start of the Summoner's Choice 2022, we went, oh yeah, by the way, the last 4 is going to be Quicksilver, Beta Ray Bill, is going to be I think Agatha Harkness and Baron Zemo. Lo and behold, all those 4 champions ended up being the final 4, and everybody said, oh, it's going to be between this champion, and Quicksilver's going to win. So when it's predictable, it isn't fun, and when the structure kind of is basically pointing into, Quicksilver's obviously going to win this, and having the caliber, because that's the biggest thing. All of these champions that I've got on screen on the YouTube video version of this, going like, all these champions, and people would go, well, we want Quicksilver. Why do you want Quicksilver? Well, because he has the type of...
Because he's been in the most movies.
Because he's been in the most movies. And as well, it's been something hinted at for such a long time. Players have been like, right, well, we want to see that kind of like tech being used, the super speed movement. And it's just been something talked about for just such a long time, and a very much most wanted champion that, it was going to win.
Yeah, it just wasn't balanced last time. Like, it was pretty clear, like, looking at that like Quicksilver was going to win like instantly.
Yeah.
Like, and there were some good other champions in there that, like Bullseye and Baron Zemo, and definitely some champions that I want to see in the game. Armor and Danny Moonstar, from the X-Men.
Yeah.
But it's like they didn't have a chance against Quicksilver.
No, exactly.
So it's like, if you're gonna break out like 8 or 10 heavy hitters, that's fine. If you're gonna go Beta Ray Bill, Bullseye, Sandman, Adam Warlock, and we're just gonna have like, a slugfest, that's fine.
Yes.
But like, if we're, you can't do like Quicksilver, who's been in Fox and MCU movies versus some like deep cuts from the comics at the same time. Like, pick a lane. If they're all deep cuts, they're all deep cuts. If they're all like the remaining A-listers on the sidelines, that's cool too. Because I do think it's fun. I do think people like voting and getting involved, and they love the videos of like, especially they didn't do as much with Quicksilver, but especially with Hercules, where we were getting sort of those cheeky updates from Hercules. Like, Hercules was so great because, he's just so cocky about it. Like, you have chosen me, like, of course you have, because I'm Hercules.
Yeah.
So, I think they've learned their lesson. I am hopeful that they learned their lesson from last time, and that we get a balanced champion pool. And we can have some fun with this thing and engage in rampant speculation instead of a foregone conclusion.
Absolutely. I don't know who I'd kind of like pick to kind of go into it, but as you said, it's down to Kabam to choose equal level kind of popularity of champions to kind of choose, and like it's just going to be a fair fight in all of this. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to kind of like doing some content on it, and I think here we start getting teasers or some info towards the end of this month, and something happening in November. So I don't know if the vote it might start in November. Who knows?
Yeah, we know there's going to be some teases later this month, so we're just going to have to stay tuned.
Very nice. Right, we'll kind of like we'll end the podcast there. Dan, what are you hoping to achieve next week or this weekend as well? This weekend and going into next week.
This weekend, I really want to try to get through as much of Cavalier difficulty as I can, get that out of the way, so I can get off to a fast start in Battlegrounds Season 2 and start working on Act 8.1.
Very nice. I've got a family thing, so that might take me out one of the days of the weekend. But I got to get Act 8.1 finished off or work on a bit of it, so I'm going to hopefully plan to do that. Get my units as well up to a target that I want to see, and then next week think about what I want to do. Incursions, maybe some Incursions videos and things. So in any case, that has been it. That's been the podcast. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening and watching on YouTube. Available and all the links in the bios. Go and check us out, follow, like us, and stuff like that. And we'll see you next time for another episode. We're getting close to that 100 mark. See you later. Bye-bye.